Hello, everybody. My name is Clint Leetwood, and I'm here today bringing you a little replay review. This replay in particular was requested by my good friend, Fury. You may know him as HACKERMAN or Triceracop. This guy's been playing the game for a long time. I think he's looking for a little hype and perhaps maybe a little constructive criticism. At the end of the day, Fury has been playing the game at a very high level for a long time. Um, I mean, as long as I've known him, he's hovered in the 1800 to 2100 range. Incredibly strong player. Unique playstyle, too. He's taught me a lot about how hackers are supposed to be played. So if you have any desire to um, maybe learn about some of these playstyles. Keep an eye out for Fury and watch some of his games. But let's get into this replay. For those that haven't ever watched one of these videos, this is sort of going to be a one-take long-form stream of consciousness, kind of hype reaction to this replay. But long story short, we have Triceracop on Sabertooth spec with Sabertooth Crawler start. Ooh, that's spicy. Versus Speed spec with Sledgehammer Arclight starts. So in my experience, right, I've had a lot of issues with these Sledgehammer starts, only because it seems Sledgehammers are just better than Sabertooths in like every possible way. Um, Interestingly enough, though, this seems to uniquely be a problem when Sabertooths are on the defense, and maybe not so much when they're on the offense. So pretty widespread battle line here. Little atypical to what we normally see. I imagine I was going to say, I feel like this half is going to get split off here, which should collapse the front right about here. Things get a little different if there's like a crawler in this corner, and then obviously later, right, a crawler in this corner, but this is kind of uniquely solved when this fortification tower level gets added on over here, which almost certainly ought to be. So first round, nothing special, right? Speed spec is going to get the tower over here, which, you might expect. A really unfortunate timing here. The tower goes down right before the Sabertooth is able to one-shot the Arclight. Normally this is a one-shot if this unit ever gets on this other unit. It usually is kind of read 'em and weep. But nice reverse tower timing here. I don't think this is going to manifest in anything too strong here. Fury is going to be playing a little bit of cleanup with the remainder of these units, and not really having the HP pool to tank an early round loss, but trust the process. Sometimes we need a little time to set up, and realistically, right, Sabertooth spec hitting a unit drop this early is nothing but green lights, man. It is pedal to the metal for the rest of this game. So if I'm Fury here, what are we thinking? And I like Phoenixes only because we have Arclights, but we don't really need more single target, right? It could just be the Fangs. Fangs could be very nice here, yeah. And it ends up just being the Fangs, and I agree with that pick. Someone said some time ago that Sabertooths are like mini forts, and I think this is the most apt description of them. They are units that can be used to transition into fortresses, but moreover, right, they also kind of hold their weight as a single target DPS, like kind of tanky unit, right? They do have access to field maintenance, they have access to double shot and range enhancement, giving them a pretty formidable like damage output, right? So Fury's opponent does something really smart here. He's adding in a steel ball, and I believe this is the intention here being that if this tower is upgraded, the crawlers would take some time, but the steel balls won't. It's about the same amount of time, only like maybe a second or two more, for a steel ball to kill like a level 2 tower versus like a level 1 tower. That's the nature of exponential damage, right? So here he's going to have a lot of problems over here at the moment, as we can clearly see, right? These steel balls are getting in. This tower will go down. But we should get a nice reverse tower timing here any moment now. Not nice enough, though. These crawlers are still remaining, which is going to make it a real pain to clear these units properly. But with this last tidbit, as long as these steel balls take too long to ramp up... Oh, gosh. Okay, the Sabertooth does clear it, but just barely. So this is the round that the Sabertooth spec should be taking off realistically, right? Speed spec doesn't really gain any power. Sabertooth spec, however, does. So the fact that we're already clawing back rounds is what Saber spec should be doing. I would have expected that round to be a little less close, but I mean, this is the nature of kind of playing these weird, what the community lovingly refers to as the 69, this being the 6, right? And this being the 9. That being that one player is asymmetrically deployed and the other player is asymmetrically deployed at round 1. Making things kind of awkward for both players, right? But here's the deal, right? I think at this point, this is no longer a quote-unquote 69. This is more of a weird headbutt. And this is a scenario that I'm going to be honest, I'm very uncomfortable in. I'm very unfamiliar with. This is... You know, these are the games that when you encounter, they're like the 2 or 3%. they're not the average game, is what I'm getting at. So this is not an experience a lot of people are familiar in. And what I mean, I think this is such a cool fucking read, man, from Fury here. Wow, these look like level 2, but that's just the skin. Yeah, okay, I mean, this makes perfect sense. So, for both players, right? Steel balls and wraiths go together like kids in a candy store, and we have the idea that we're pairing, well, not only fangs, right, which naturally go well with fortresses, or mini saber-tooths, for example, or mini forts and the saber-tooth, for example, but also a really unique composition that can exist in the headbutt is Fortress Wraith. And I think Fury is playing with this idea in Sabertooth Wraith, and I think that's fucking cool, man. It's not something I've seen, honestly, ever. So this is already a pretty fantastic game to be watching. Wraiths being very strong in the defense, right? If crawlers are your main chaff, Wraiths are basically air Vulcans, and you can't say no to that, baby. Okay. So the really scary part here is taking this tower timing, killing this Wraith. Once this is done, Fury can't lose the round. These steel balls look like they will level. A little unfortunate. Ideally, right, you want to stop the snowball as much as possible. And if your opponent's dropping level 1 steel balls at round 3, they should hopefully, ideally, be remaining as such for the remainder of the game. Let's take a look at some of these cards here, though. We have Heavy Armor, Underground Threat, Mobilize, Battleship, and Quick Teleport. All of these are pretty much daggers in the heart for both players. I mean, like, look how wide open all of this space is for Fury, and look how wide open all of this space is for our opponent. So Mobilize, Battleship is certainly something we have to take into account. Quick Teleport, I mean, this is one of those rounds that I don't think you can actually fully play around. You're going to have to take some guesses. You're going to have to take some real 50-50s and hope they work out in your favor. If I'm in Fury spot, there's a part of me that thinks Mobilize Battleship is nice just to give us a little more HP breathing room, maybe equalize the HP bars a little bit. There is a world where if you drop it in this corner, which isn't currently missiled, the splash does take the tower immediately, but also there is a world where you go onto the missile side because the range of the Overlord should allow it to still hit the tower relatively quickly. And granted, it will one-shot the tower. But beyond that, right, like it's tough. I mean, if there's an underground threat in any one of these spots that you put the boat down, the boat's never going to hit the tower. So very curious to see what both players go for. Both players are going to go for the underground threat on the Fury is getting it in the middle of both of his undefended towers, which granted, right, like an Arclight anywhere in here is going to handle this push almost single-handedly. Fury decided to initially go for a underground threat in to the missile, kind of getting a -50. But in this case, I think we'll still get the -50, but we'll also pull this back. This whole little contingency will get pushed back, leaving us to kind of square off against this. And so this is one of the kind of neat ideas of, holy shit, this is scary. This is kind of one of the neat ideas of this sort of like headbutt play in the corner, is that these little like flanks here in the corner can cause a lot of headaches, and it almost forces your opponent to grab this mobile beacon to try and force this push forward. This is the main axis of attack that Arctor is going to be working off of. It's going to be this corridor and like this corridor. And Fury basically is going to have to match that. Interestingly enough, there really isn't anything to stop this push over here. This is a level 2 Arclight. So this tower will always go down at this moment. So Fury's goal is to delay. Is to hold, and wait. And as long as he can hold and wait, this tower goes down and he wins the fight. It's going to be really scary with all of this going on. Both towers upgraded to level 2. This will take some time to clean with an underground threat, but it will go down. Oh, man, and most of them get pulled over to the right, so it's a -50 for the missile on the left. This delayed action seems to be working wonders. The left tower is wide open. The right tower is getting attacked. The Wraith is going to go down. The 8-gun is the correct call here. 8-gun making all of the difference in the world. Another tower timing. Oh, both towers going down at the same time. But it really comes down to this last tower timing over here. This Sabertooth is going to get it. Hopefully buy some time for Fury's armor army to not be debuffed, and it's not anymore. Which leaves this level 1 Wraith with 8-gun against a level 1 Wraith without any upgrades. Bad spot to be, bad spot to be. You don't want to be this Wraith. It's eating all 8 barrels right off the bat. Okay. Fury still in it. Once again, his goal is to delay. He will always take this tower. Nano repair kit coming down. Immediately slammed by both players. Reasonably slow. There are Wraiths that can't be killed. We must be making them stronger. Degen beam! Okay, I mean, this is crazy. This is a tech that I've seen panned for a long time now, and it's like, I don't know. Here's my take. I think the Mechabellum community forgets really easily. There was a time when ball pushes were a thing. They still are, but like, I mean, like worse than they are currently. Way stronger, way more deadly. And they would click replicate, degen beam, and like absorb on their steel balls, and you would die. You couldn't play the game anymore. And so it always was like degen is this like really strong aggro tool, but guess what? Degen is also an incredibly strong defense tool, especially when paired with 8-gun. Look at this, the whole game plan, right? I've been talking about this entire time is to delay, buy time, delay. Well, you know what this does? Slows your guys. This is completely a par for the course. I love this read. I think this is a beautiful little pickup. We see that we're slowly transitioning out of Sabertooths. I'm very curious if we will see forts at some point, but it looks like we actually might be going just for a carry Wraith game, which, I mean, for all intents and purposes, is is just fine. I love this. Instead of putting all the eggs in one basket, we know we're going to win this side. So we're going to put the nano repair kit on the flank that needs it. This flank should hold almost entirely by itself now. This becomes a little worrisome, though. Oh, wow. And 2 elite recruited Wraiths this round. I mean, this looks utterly dominating for Fury. This is so much experience funneled into all of these Wraiths. And by the time this gets in range, it's going to get debuffed. And the nano repair kit lets this thing heal the full and kill the level 2 Wraith and Fury leveled almost every Wraith that round. Oh, is this a multi-melt angle? This is a multi-melt angle, isn't it? Click it. Click it. Click it. Please click it. Tell me I'm right. Multi-melt would be so sweet here. Multi-melt on the line. 8-gun Wraith. Oh god. It's so atypical. It's so sweet. It's the stuff you don't see. What a cool replay. Selling out of the Sabertooth over here, just going for the Wraith to match. It should be noted that while these Wraiths do have range... Oh my god, instantly locked! Instantly locked! Instantly locked! Disgusting. I mean, this is just A+ positional play, man. Disgusting instant lock. Melter immediately zaps down the sucker. I mean, these Phoenixes, while neat in practice, are fucking dead weight, man. They are not doing what we want them to do, unfortunately. I like the idea, right? We have access to things like EMP, and even Charge Shot, which makes these guys like effective duelers against these. But no, man, not when you're getting gunned down by 8-gun Wraith. Let's see what there's here. There's a shield airdrop, which is going to make things in this corner maybe a little precarious. A little. Maybe not entirely so, but photon coating will negate at least 1 unit's worth of degen, so we could maybe make it here. But I mean, I think realistically, right, our red player here is having just a hell of a time trying to deal with Arctur. Sorry, trying to deal with this sort of degen meme, and now range has been matched. Whooped likes to mention pay the range tax, man, and Fury knows it. Once that button is clicked, we have to match it. Oh man, we pivot out of the melter. So no longer a multi-melt angle. This is just straight up Wraith carry. And look at that, charge shot. But I mean, we need photon. We need photon. Like the point to get a boat at this time has passed. Like the game is about to end, and we haven't addressed the fundamental issue, right? Which is the generation beam. We just need some amount of photon here. And here's the other thing. We can't match! So this is an asymmetric benefit that Fury gets to always... this is a lever that Fury always gets to pull, right? Like, this is something that he can make happen at any point. A little scary of a push coming in over here. Lots of damage coming in. Charge Shot Phoenix is doing kind of what I was talking about, right? Which is murdering Wraiths instantly. Especially under tower debuff. Goodness gracious. A little worrisome for Fury here. I'm not quite sure, honestly, what happened in this corner, because I felt like nothing really changed here outside of the Charge Shot Phoenixes. And things changed pretty drastically. Maybe there's some missile cheese that I missed. Wasp form and Underground threat going right into the back line. Being met with an underground threat. Oh, what? Oh, sure. Okay. Yeah, I see it. This makes sense. This is a nice little missile cheese. This allows an insta-lock here. But these wasps here are mainly here, one, to get mulched by these wraiths, but to also take at least a couple shots. And maybe even a missile here. So this makes sense if there was some missile cheese to put these wasps up front. Makes it a little annoying for the phoenixes to deal with, but I mean, it's not really an issue. These 8-gun wraiths are going to absolutely eviscerate what's going on over here. We did sell out of a level 2 wraith in the center. Did redrop a melter. And we have this wraith in the corner taken to level 3. Delay. Right. Oh, gosh, this charge, that Phoenix is just chunk, man. Tower needs to go down now. Yeah, that needed to happen right then. If it didn't, this round gets much more awkward. The part that I'm really worried about is if he clicks range on these charge shot Phoenixes, right? With range, things suddenly become a lot more awkward. These Phoenixes are outside of the degen beam range, and they're popping the they're popping these what you call it, wraiths. There we go, donuts, pretty effectively. And here we go, right? We have photon emission coming out. This is a great defensive tool in this scenario. Kind of shocked we don't see it coming out from Arctor. This feels like a no-brainer to me. I mean, he has it unlocked. He just sold it. We have charge shot range. I think if Arctor drops 2 of these loans, he has enough to get photon emission, and this photon emission should blanket this entire army, and this, well, maybe not this, but this certainly. He can drop it right here. It should catch all of this. No, we are going for absorption module, field maintenance. Unfortunately, field maintenance doesn't work against overlords. Yeah, and then photon emission is going to be a game changer here. It's going to mitigate a lot of damage. We have a corner flank in the back right. The right-hand side is completely destroyed. The left-hand side is completely destroyed. I thought photon emission was going to be a complete game changer here. I am completely mistaken. And Fury is on the back foot. Ion Blast in this scenario with this kind of HP pools on both players. This is a see it, you take it. You can't ignore this one, unfortunately. So there's one more round after this. That's crazy, man. I had no idea. I shouldn't have spoiled that, but I was like, I didn't want to cast or curse myself again. The fear of me there being that I was gonna say this could be the final round, to hype it up, and then it's not. And this is actually a really neat idea here with these shielded wasps. I still think they get absolutely mulched by this Wraith, but at the end of the day, right, the idea is delay, and that is what Fury is doing. Not so much the game plan now because the tower's not under active threat, right? But we need time for the melters to work here. Is this Ion Beam gonna be good enough? Okay, that Wraith immediately dies. Wraith in the middle immediately dies. We have almost entirely dodged the Ion Beam. there's not much left for either player realistically. And while this is a lot of damage, it is simply not enough to put the game away. Amp Core Advanced Targeting System. Interesting. Yeah, I was thinking Advanced Targeting might have been the correct call too, only because we are in a mirror. And, oh, goodness, I didn't see this button get clicked. Mothership on Overlords is a total game changer, actually. That added extra element of chaff. 5 wasps. I mean, 5 wasps with shields is effectively like 8 or 9 wasps. So, like, it's a big deal, you guys. This is crazy. You know, especially right if the wraiths get cleared out and they have the shortest range, so they will get cleared out first. Over the phoenixes, you know, in preference. Here. So when that does happen, right, it leaves this weird Phoenix duel at the end, and you know, maybe advanced targeting system might not be the most beneficial there. And then finally, Arctur pays the photon emission tax. I think this is the correct thing to do here. I just want to say before we get into the last round and before we get to the final little tidbit here, what a fantastic game from both players. Pretty atypical stuff. We see a sledge arc transition into Wraith Ball, and Sabertooth Crawler transition into just like straight up Wraith carry. It's just cool stuff to see, man. Both players paying the tax on basically everything right now. Left side gets completely demolished. The right side is barely hanging in there. The right side does end up falling in Fury's side, but there is simply too much remaining with Fury's army. Some really fantastic stuff from both players. What a cool game. Round 11. I mean, that's about as good as Mechabellum gets. If you enjoyed this video, and if you enjoyed this replay, come on over to my stream, request a replay review, send me a replay, and we'll do a little video. We'll do a little video on the YouTubes. Big shout outs to Fury. Big shout outs to Arctur. Cool game. I honestly have no notes. This is a scenario that here's the deal, right? If you look at this board, it's a mess. And I am not very good at piloting these scenarios. And moreover, I don't think anybody can look at this board and really provide any constructive feedback outside of maybe adjusting a couple pieces, a couple spots. At the end of the day, this board wins. And that's the nature of a headbutt, right? I think these headbutts are incredibly razor thin. And both players are riding the lines with everything that they're doing. It's really cool stuff. Okay, well, that's going to be all for me. You know, do the YouTube thing, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you around.